Hello and welcome to another whiteboard training video. I'm Isaiah Hankel, a Cheeky Scientist, and you want to watch this video all the way to the end because the last shortcut is critical. It's going to help you get your resume into the hands of employers faster and help you get hired faster. Not only that, it'll make sure that you get a higher salary offer. That's what this is really about. That's the unspoken thing I'm teaching you today, is how to get a higher salary offer. Why do employers not want you to know about certain shortcuts as a PhD? Because they think they can lowball you in terms of the salary offer they're giving you. They think you're an academic, you don't know any better. They think that you're going to struggle in your job search, you're going to be desperate, you're not going to know how to leverage different offers against each other, and they're going to be able to tell all of this by how well you craft your resume and whether or not you're applying these strategies. That's why they don't want you to know these strategies, but we're going to go through them so you can be seen as an expert, seen as somebody who's not going to mess around. Okay, who's going to deserve a high salary offer. They're not going to lowball you. This will help you get an offer that's 10 to 20% higher than if you didn't apply these shortcuts. Number one, job title, skills, and location matter, especially location. A lot of PhDs don't understand that an employer, especially a hiring manager, somebody in HR who doesn't have a PhD, a recruiter who doesn't have a PhD, they are tasked to fill a job in a certain location. Let's say a job's in Chicago or Sydney or London. Where do you think they're going to look when they're trying to hire somebody in that location? People that live in London currently or Chicago currently. So they're doing searches on LinkedIn, in their applicant tracking system for resumes, everywhere for that location. And you think that by not putting a location, you're opening yourself up to more job opportunities? You're not. You have to put in locations. Put in 2 or 3 different cities, your top ones. If you're willing to relocate, you can put in willing to relocate. Put it on your resume though. Put willing to relocate up at the very top right in your contact details underneath your LinkedIn URL. Okay? Put in your location. Put in a couple of locations, your top 2 or 3 cities, and then again, willing to relocate. Those keywords need to be on your resume. You also have to have skills on your resume and job titles. If you don't have any industry experience, no industry job titles, you can do something else instead. I'm going to talk about that shortly. Number 2. Academic job titles hurt you, okay? Academic job titles hurt you. As a PhD, you're probably thinking, oh, I need to write down graduate research assistant or postdoctoral fellow because that shows that it's an actual position and I'm not just a student or I'm not just a poor postdoc. Doesn't matter. It's not going to help you, okay? Most people that don't have PhDs, they don't even understand what a graduate research assistant is. And then they find out, they're like, does this just mean PhD student? And they think you're trying to fool them. I'll tell you who you're not fooling, though, is the applicant tracking system software. The ATS software, this is the software that sees your resume first. Because when you upload a resume, it doesn't get right into the hands of a hiring manager. It goes into a software program that's hiding your resume from the hiring manager, because most jobs, if you actually take the average of all jobs, every open position that's available will get an average of 525 resumes. Large companies like Pfizer, Regeneron, MedImmune, Apple, Google will get up to 2,000 resumes per open position. Okay, so how are they filtering through all these resumes? Applicant tracking system software. What is that software not programmed to look for? Academic job titles. Yet you, as a PhD, are putting graduate research assistant, postdoctoral fellow in bold as a title that really matters because you're using a chronological resume, or worse, an academic CV. Don't do that. Okay, instead use a functional resume, which I'm going to talk about in a little bit. Number 3, buzzwords actually hurt you. The simplest way for an employer to tell that you're an amateur, that they can really drive down the price, the salary they're going to offer you, is when they see that you use the word enthusiastic 13 times on your resume, or you use team player because somebody told you that they're worried about PhDs being too independent. Studies have shown that those 2 keywords, those 2 buzzwords in particular, enthusiastic, team player, reduce your chances of getting an interview and lower the salary you get offered. Okay, there's a lot of buzzwords that you should not be putting on your resume. In fact, we're going to talk about these buzzwords next week on Thursday. Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and then again at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we're going to do a special resume webinar about all of these shortcuts and a lot more. So this is next Thursday. I believe it's the 19th, next Thursday, 1 p.m., 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can sign up for it. We'll put it on our Facebook fan page. Make sure you get access to that webinar. Number 4, you can use a functional resume. So, if you can't put your academic job titles under your work experience, what do you put? Skills. Remember number one, skills really matter. Bold your skills and have those be the top line of each work experience section, right? So instead of saying graduate research assistant at University XYZ on these dates, highlight a technical skill or a transferable skill. Put project management skills, and then underneath it, put gained as a graduate research assistant at this university. This is called a functional resume, and it's not new. Okay, this is something you can do. Employers don't want you to do this because it's going to help you beat the applicant tracking system software, and it's going to show you for the expert that you are in terms of your job search, that you understand that skills are important. It's going to highlight the skills. It's going to make them see the skills first and not judge you as an academic who doesn't know what they're talking about because you're highlighting graduate research assistant or postdoctoral fellow. We're going to cover functional resumes in detail next Thursday, again, during that special resume webinar that's free. Number 5, the job market favors you. This is a big one. Right now, unemployment is at its lowest level in like 50 years. Like worldwide, there are more jobs available right now, especially in STEM. So if you're a life scientist, physical scientist, social scientist, engineer, math, economics, education, if you have a PhD or getting a PhD, now is the time to get hired. We've seen an increase in hiring by over 200%. 200% just in the last couple of months. In the last 2 years, it's over 1,000% now. We just broke our 1 week record for the most transitions into industry ever. Problem is, you're not trained on getting a job. You're in academia, you have some lifetime academic, some career counselor telling you things that aren't correct for getting an industry job today. You're not leveraging modern networks, you're not leveraging modern technology. You need to do this. And you need to realize that the ball is in your court. Employers have to come to you. You should be showing up to interviews, phone screens, saying, I have plenty of job opportunities because there are tons of job opportunities out there. You should be submitting a resume with confidence, with words and language that show that you're a desirable candidate. We're going to talk a lot more about this next week too. Number 6, you can hack ATS AI. So ATS, again, stands for Applicant Tracking System Software. It's the standard software that anytime you upload a resume online, it's a software that takes in your resume, looks at a bunch of metrics, keywords, looks at anything like if you had to put in your desired salary when you uploaded it, a cover letter, all this stuff, it uses an algorithm to determine whether or not you're a likely positive candidate for that organization. If it says you're not, it grays you out, it archives you, a person never sees your resume, right? And ATS is a type of artificial intelligence, AI. There's a lot of different platforms and things out there that overall studies have shown are really, really bad at finding good candidates. Yet employers have to use these software programs because otherwise they'd have to hire hundreds of people just to look at the thousands of resumes coming in all day. Okay, so it's a necessary evil. Employers don't want you to know this, okay, because they want you to submit it in and they want you to be filtered out if you're not a good candidate or if you're an academic, or they want you to have to put in your salary expectations with your resume so they can use those against you later. You can bypass all of this by getting access to a network and working to network with employees working at a company, setting up informational interviews, etc. And you can hack the ATS software to make sure that your resume goes right into the hands of an employer. How do you do this? I recommend using a free word cloud. If you go to wordcloud.com, wordclouds.com, wordle.com, you can collect 20, 30, 40 different job postings for the jobs you're interested in, copy and paste all that content into a word cloud. The word cloud will tell you which skills are used the most, right? Which words are used the most. They're going to be skills, technical skills or transferable skills. You take the skills that are the biggest in the word cloud, those are the ones that are used the most, and you put those throughout your resume. Okay, what you've done there is just you've hacked the ATS software. You've hacked the AI so that your resume will come up at the top of the search results and will get to an actual person. I'm going to talk a lot more about that next week on next Thursday's resume webinar too. We have 3 more. They stop reading after 10%. I don't know if employers don't want you to know this because they're lazy or they don't want you to be, trying to game the system by getting your resume in first. Here's the deal. If 1,000 resumes are being submitted for an open position, only about 100 of them are actually being read by a person. And that's at a large company that has enough personnel to read that many resumes. A lot of smaller companies, they'll read, 10. Maybe they get a few hundred resumes that come in. They'll read 10, maybe 20 resumes. They stop early. That means if a job's been posted for a week and you submit your resume, it's too late. They're not even going to get to your resume. They're not even going to see it. They've already collected the resumes that they're going to go through, and they're going to go through those and find the best one in that pile, that 10%. This means you have to get your resume in early. Studies confirm this. Getting your resume in on Monday really matters because most people post a new job on Monday. Okay, Monday, Tuesday, the most important. And you want to be looking, especially after lunch. For whatever reason, a lot of people post new job openings after lunch. I'm going to talk about how you can have Google send you emails about new job postings in just a second. Google Alerts beats Indeed. Okay, so a lot of companies have special deals with Indeed or other job search platforms to show their jobs on Indeed, to show their jobs on a job search platform. They want you going there to look for those jobs because they're paying Indeed or they're paying these other job search platforms lots of money, right, to help them find good candidates. Here's the trick, though. You don't need to go to Indeed. You don't need to try to find some platform that has an algorithm that's at the very best, second best in terms of searching keywords. Because we know what the number one best algorithm is for searching keywords, right? It's Google. So why not go to the source? If you go to google.com/alerts, google.com/alerts, for free, you can set up an alert for every job title you're interested in, every company you're interested in, and for yourself, so you can see what's on the internet about you. But you set up these Google Alerts, and you'll get an email to your inbox that will tell you when a new job is posted. When any new web page is posted with that information on it, whatever you put up in the Google Alerts, that will show up in your inbox. You will be the first to know when a job opens up, and you can be the first to apply to it. Google Alerts, google.com/alerts. 9, finally, employees have more pull than HR. Hiring managers, HR people, especially when they're hiring for PhDs, they're a little bit out of their depth. They're not going to understand your technical skills. They're likely not going to understand the technical skills needed for the job at hand. Their job is just to screen you to make sure you're personable, that you have the transferable skills. They are not going to have the final say over whether or not you're hired in most cases. Who has a lot more pull than an HR or a recruiter or a hiring manager? An employee already working at that company, especially an employee in the department you want to get into. If an current employee at that company comes in and says, this person would be a great hire, you should interview them, they're going to interview you. Vouching for you in that way means a lot. This is why you have to get access to modern networks, use modern technology to build up your network, and you have to start having informational interviews. Okay, as PhDs, I know I've been there. You probably have an industry network of 0. In the Cheeky Scientist Association, right? This is what Cheeky Scientist does. You get access to thousands of PhDs currently working in industry where you can interview them about their position, and those informational interviews turn into interviews where they ask you questions. They take your resume, they hand your resume to a hiring manager, they refer you for the job. That's really where the magic happens in terms of resumes. Employers don't want you to know about this because you get to bypass their entire system. You get to bypass their job as the hiring manager or HR and go right to the front of the line for a site visit. We're going to talk a lot more about that next week during our free resume webinar next Thursday, July 19th at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
It's the 18th.
And 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I think it's is it the 18th? It's the 18th. The 18th. 1 p.m. and 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time next week. As always, remember your value as a PhD and start thinking and acting like a successful industry professional.